Peace. Shalom. Back with chapter 29 of The Road from Orion. For the great plateful of blue water was before her, the hoary lighthouse, distant, austere, in the mist, and falling, in soft low pleats, the green sand dunes with the wild flowing grasses on them, which always seem to be running away into some moon country uninhabited of men, to the lighthouse, Virginia Woolf. "We are not coming back from this trip," said John, as he merged into the hazy condensation of the Aethers. "Yes, I know. Let's hurry. I have much to show you," I said, pressing Prospero's book close to my heart. "No looking back," I cautioned, and then we flew away from men forever like madmen across the currents. John's new energy matched my own, and we scaled the aerial heights above the mountains effortlessly, going westward to the veiled sun, which was at its zenith and gleaming like a silvery disk with the clear-cut rim of a lustrous pearl. The sky was dappled with diaphanous hues of blue and violet clouds that passed behind the sun, moving from the west to the east in synchronicity with the Earth's rotation. We were angling smoothly to the northern polar cusp, thanks to the Coriolis effect, and the world around was afire with a brilliance that ignited all living things from within. Timelessly, we curved downward or northward on an iron magnetic field line of molten metal like Spider-Man, high above the spinning azure green earth, and despite Lucia's instructions, we were unprepared for the new world bursting before us, what the Egyptians call the region of the dwarfs. In the molecular state, vision is spectacularly improved, and from John's new perspective within the Earth's ionosphere, he saw the emerald planets, sun's barricade as translucent mountains of plasma threaded by bronze magnetic lines, stirring like the warp and woof of some filmy metallic curtain. On the western horizon, the massive plasma barrier bulked up to deflect the ramming solar wind that stretched the Earth's magnetosphere eastward into two long rivers of plasma, a whirling vortex, crossing far downstream to form a sizable horizontal tail in the infinite ocean of dark space. Odd. John stared at the sun crisscrossed in magnetic rods of iron, and he said, "Doppelganger. The sun appears veiled in silver gaze because of the effect produced by viewing it from within the Earth's plasma barrier." And Coleridge saw this too. In the rhyme or ream, he wrote that the sun was fleckled with bars, and I must say now that this was an accurate description of the sun from within the magnetosphere. When John said bars, I suddenly knew that we were breaking out of the Earth's magnetospheres, the prison that thrived on photosynthesis. Not that it was our fault, but we had been imprisoned because of the death of fire from the sun. I remember Nerval's comment that we were captive because of the electromagnetism of our bodies was forced in a certain direction. It instantly became clear to me that when a person died, their atoms were released by trapped in the magnetosphere, only to continually return to forms of matter that use photosynthesis. We were breaking through the process of eternal return. We were breaking out of the magnetosphere into the stars. Van Gogh's painting Starry Night flashed before me, and I sensed he knew this was possible. In silent awe, we examined the Earth's arterial plasma network, the enclosure that is surrounding us like the translucent cell wall of some monstrous fish that seemed to be entangled in a net cast from the sun. Seeing all of this, we understood the relentless power of the sun, whose winds battered the earth remorselessly. But this did not delay us. Like falcons, we continued spiraling through the air toward the ice-laden Canadian Arctic, where a sunlit spout of silvery jets swirled round and round in a large vortex above the magnetic North Pole, like a brilliant lighthouse beamed in from the stars, mesmerized by the magical polar light, which mushroomed upward like a ram's horn into the blue-black cosmos. We soon heard the warm, rich, sensual tones of a trumpet gusting up on the Aethers to greet us. It was the song of a blessed one, a weightless music. That's Miles Davis. He could never get the freedom song off his mind, said John, leaning back into the mystic effulgence of the Aethers as the trumpet released a long burst of smooth tones and then a wispy, intimate improvisation of shattered tones that scattered by on the pulse of the north wind. Concerto de Horenzes by Rodrigo. Just as Miles said, the melody is so strong that the softer you play it, the stronger it gets. John, pay attention here. I responded for our momentum was decreasing and the magnetic field line we rode was ending. Rooted as it was in the North Pole, in that instant we leaped off the molten tightrope like two magicians into a large glassy gap between the metallic mountain ranges, and then I clearly saw Miles standing on the glittering Arctic shores with the music pouring out of his soul in a kaleidoscope of changing harmonics. And behind him, there was an audience. John, I said, do you recognize any of those spirits on the ice? Awed again, John stared beyond Miles into the crowd. I think that's Vincent van Gogh on the left, followed by Paganini and Rachmaninoff. He said this in disbelief, focusing on the surreal scene. He then recognized the molecular living forms of Adrian Rich, Georgia O'Keeffe, and Virginia Woolf, along with Shakespeare, Coleridge, Yeats, Nerval, and Artaud. Drifting closer, we saw Poe and Goya, Galileo and Nietzsche, Theodore Roosevelt, and many other poets, writers, painters, and creative artists standing in two lines before a glimmering energy landscape of a great stairway. At the top loomed the solar light source, a magnificent crystal-like form triangled into a numerous pyramidal shapes that radiated above, flashing like mirrored lightning, each face falling on another. We understood it was the image of the sun god and the alien logic that generated our thoughts, the house of being, the mystery of mysteries, explosively from within the terrifying brightness of dazzling light. A great roar of thunder erupted, a monstrous blast that even Mahler could not orchestrate. Amazed at its limitless power and unbounded emptiness, I remember a coffin text: Lord of terror, greatly majestic, to whom everything is brought. While John gazed at the cold, almighty, deathless head of Phage Lambda, he calmly whispered, the Egyptian pathway requires that we enter that crystal, that we bond to that viral DNA. Knowing what was next, we braced ourselves to be eaten, to be swallowed by the horrifying sun god. And then, with little ado, and using an approach totally opposed to that of the weeping Dante and faint Virgil, we flew gallantly into the flashing face of the sun god like moths to the light. This has brought us to an end of chapter 29 of The Road from Orion. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Man, because those waves of confidence hit me, and I am merciless to those waves and fiending for more. But I'm going to holler at y'all later. Next we'll be back with chapter 30. I think that's the last chapter of the book. Thank you.